You're listening to an audio article by the Common Constitutionalist. Today's audio article is entitled, Dems Are Surprised at the Impact Biden's Climate Orders Will Have on Their Bottom Line. I bet you didn't know what day it was yesterday. Until I read it, I sure didn't. It was Climate Day, according to Joe Biden. And we missed it. Damn. On that big day, Uncle Joe signed a bunch more dictatorial orders regarding, what else? Climate change. And he did so while exclaiming, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. No, that's not really what he said. Quote, Today is Climate Day at the White House, which means today is Jobs Day at the White House, unquote, is actually what he said. However, in a manner of speaking, he is kind of like Santa Claus to the climate alarmist green-weenie set. He added that, quote, It's a future of enormous hope and opportunity, unquote. It might be unless you happen to work in the energy sector, or own a vehicle that runs on gas, or oil to heat your home, or really enjoy an abundant and dependable electrical grid, etc., etc., etc. Or maybe you just happen to run a western state which collected and still collects boatloads of money from oil and gas leases and royalties from both the huge Permian Basin and Delaware Basin oil and fracking reserves. But that's precisely what happened to the Democrats who run the state of New Mexico, and the voters who voted overwhelmingly for old Uncle Joe over Trump, 54 to 43%. I'm sure Democrat Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham was all for the Green New Deal type demonization of big oil, probably bought into Biden's green agenda, never giving a thought to how it would negatively affect the state's bottom line. These rubes rarely do. But according to Forbes, quote, officials in the state of New Mexico professed to be taken aback last week by President Joe Biden's Day 1 decision to impose a 60-day moratorium on all oil and gas-related leasing and permitting actions on federal lands, unquote. Add to that is Biden's plan to next go after fracking, and the New Mexico officials are going to be in deep financial trouble. And unlike the feds, they can't just print more money. New Mexico was raking in the cash from the evil oil and gas industry. A couple of years ago, it had collected almost a $500 million windfall from, quote, a single sale of oil and gas leases on federal lands in the state, unquote. On top of that, they received, quote, a 50% share of the royalties that the federal government assesses on the production, which ranges from 12.5 to 16.667% of the gross value of all oil and gas, unquote. In other words, big oil has been very good to the state of New Mexico. Of course, the principal Democrats didn't have to accept the dirty oil money. They could have refused it on moral and ethical grounds, but they happily took it and still do. Yet now somehow these same Democrats, who are likely fully on board with the ridiculous job-killing, energy-killing, environmentalist wacko agenda, are surprised by this. Maybe they can facilitate the lease of all the federal land in New Mexico to build solar and wind farms to make up for the hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars they'll lose from the draconian orders of their dear leader Biden, who I'm sure they voted for. Oh, that's right. Quote, neither the state nor the federal government collects any royalties on solar installations or wind farms. There is no severance tax to be collected from those alternative forms of energy with which to fund the state's schools or hospitals, or to sustain the free in-state college tuition program Lujan herself established in 2019 thanks to New Mexico's new Permian/Delaware Basin windfall, unquote. Well, heck, sucks to be you, I reckon. I guess it's true. You get what and who you vote for. Good luck with next year's budget. Maybe you can blame it on Trump. Thank you for listening.